Okay, I'd like to call a meeting to order. Roll call.
Mrs. Berry,
Here.
Mr. Chapman. Here. Mrs. Stevens,
Here.
Mr. Mickle.
Here. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Need approval for the minutes of the May 12, 2021 regular board meeting and May 28, 2021 special board meeting.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Chapman. Yes. Mrs. Berry,
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens.
Yes.
Mr. Mickle.
Yes, motion carried. Need a motion to approve the financial reports as presented by the treasurer.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Discussion?
Not much to it, just state budget. When something finally does get approved, I'll forward you guys information. But there's been a lot of push for the fair funding model. We'll see how it gets approved or what kind of budget. But either way, it looks like I stated at the previous meeting, we get at least what we got in fiscal year 19, which is more than we got in the last 2 fiscal years. So we should be in good shape that way.
Roll call.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yeah.
Mrs. Berry,
Yes.
Mr. Chapman. Yes. Mr. Mickle.
Yes, motion carried. Superintendent's report.
Just a few things I wanted to mention, with them pulling back on a lot of the guidelines and regulations as of June 2nd at 12 a.m. After that point, I had asked Mr. Pryor to open up the playgrounds. So, the community can use it now. I think it's probably been open actually since the 2nd and 3rd. So community can use it. I know we have baseball games here, the kids want to use them, so that's accessible now. I wanted to mention real quick, we are looking at moving forward with the Raptor system, and that basically will be a way for when visitors come in to the school, we can run their ID, and it actually runs it against a sex offenders database. It also prints out a tag for the visitor, and so that's going to be part of the Raptor system. The second thing is, I know in the elementary they've expressed some interest in getting some parent volunteers in. I know in the past that's kind of been an expense. Sometimes it can be $60 for BCI, FBI checks. Through this system, also a parent would be able to get a background check, and it would only be $5. They can go on the site that this is all attached to and pay for it. So we thought that would be kind of a nice feature too. We're gonna pay for it initially, but we were looking at, they said that we could use potentially some of the ESSER 3, the American Recovery Fund. So anyways, that's something I've been talking with Ted about. The other thing, and last thing I want to mention, I just wanted to put out there, this meeting, and we have another meeting coming up on June 24th, will be, in this model that we've been in. But anything July 1st moving forward, we're going to kind of go back to more of a traditional style meeting where public would be in attendance. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there because I think that question's been asked. So that is all I have.
Is the special meeting at 4 o'clock or 4:30?
4. There's a motion at the end. 4. That's a real quick one. That's it.
I said I didn't get
Oh,
that.
that's it.
And how many of us you need here for that?
For most of them, at least 3, I think, for all motions, just if we add anything.
I think everybody will be here anyhow, right?
I can make it.
That's a quick meeting. There's not, just the financial stuff, really. There's not much to discuss unless you guys had a lot of questions.
I'll make sure I have a look.
May report, Scott.
From an athletics point of view, our baseball team ended up losing a close game to Matthews in the district semifinals. I guess it wasn't district finals, but district semifinals. In the girls softball, they lost to McDonald in the district semifinals. So again, a close game. So well represented there. On the track forefront, we had a couple kids make it to regionals, but they didn't qualify for state. So we're down a little bit in track this year, but still represented well at regionals. That's all I have.
Christina,
I do not have currently anything to share.
Misty,
I don't have anything either.
and under building and grounds, I know we're working on the roofs. The units on the roofs. Anything else?
And right now, HOCO is putting the roofing material on. We've tried to make a dance out of it so that the roofers and the people from Garnier that are putting the rooftops on are working together so we can stage things. They've been here for a while. Friday, they're coming with 7 rooftops. So we're in the process of unhooking things and getting ready to pull the existing ones off and put the new ones on.
So they had to bring a big picker with them?
They will bring a huge crane here and there'll be 6 semis and they'll have to set it up twice, but it'll be quite a operation. But the roofers will be here for another probably 3 or 4 weeks yet.
Okay, and that's all I have. I'd like to welcome visitors and invite public participation. Does anybody have anything to bring before the board?
Ted, is there anything? Nobody requesting? Okay. Then at this time, I had asked Mr. Pryor to come speak tonight in regards to just some potential projects we were looking at, especially with the American Recovery Act funds that we will be receiving. Mr. Roger, the floor is yours.
Well, they invited me in these strange meetings to keep things under control, I think, so they. Once the announcement was made for all these funds to be available, it was like the sharks, the blood in the water, and the sharks are attacking. They all want to come and they all want to bring all these new ideas to the school to spend all your money. So we come up with way more simple ideas that now the plan was to, instead of increasing headaches in the future, to be proactive and take care of some things that general fund and PI money will have to take care of later on down the road. So there's a number of them. The first one was to, being how the heating system in this building and a good part of the other building is all served by what are called VAV boxes. And they all are controlled by a head-end computer. All of that has naturally expensive software that's always outdated as soon as you get it. So the plan there is to redo the software and have them come in and start redoing all of the VAV boxes, because there are so many moving parts in every one of the classrooms that are down here, to start updating and replacing some of the things that are going to be needing replaced in the next few years. We spend the money now that we don't, and it qualifies for the ESSER money. We don't have to do that out of general fund and out of PI money later on. I mean, there's a 3-page report on how that all is going to work, but the basic part of it is to regain control. And also this will bring together both ends of the building, because always before we've had a certain amount of money to deal with, and that amount of money might get you partway through one project and not quite enough to finish it off. So consequently, right now we have a head end at the other end of the building that's controlling part of it, and then the head end at this end is controlling the rest. Now this program would be one of the issues there would be to combine both of them so you can get on from any computer and with the right addresses, you can get on and control what you need to control throughout the building. That
Go from 2 systems to 1 system.
Yes, everything will be much easier for the control work later on.
So you said you had a 3-page report there. Could you scan that, Mario, and send it to us, please?
Yeah, we just didn't want to, we want to let them talk about it
No,
first.
that's
and then
fine.
send-
That's
and
fine.
send you
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
it will explain, some of the more detailed stuff. And it's not it's a turnkey program to a point where the system is involved, the technology part of it is involved, but they're gonna find problems because a lot of times when we're terribly financially ready to do things, we had to change some stuff, and it wasn't always the way maybe that it should have been done, but we got the job done to keep the system going. So they'll come back with a report, and some of that'll have to be changed on top of it. That was a lot more complicated than the rest of them. The next one is the high school and varsity gymnasium HVA upgrade. The high school we come up with the idea of basically a huge attic fan to try to draw air from the bottom layers of the building up through to the third floor and have a constant velocity of air going up through when it's hot. And with the idea of trying to drop the temperature, maybe 10 degrees up there because it's miserable on the third floor, and try to move a considerable amount of air through the whole building so that we might be able to alleviate some of the hot air problems there. That was the easy part of this one. The second part was the gymnasium heaters in the varsity gym are probably in the ballpark of 45 years old. They still work perfectly fine. But if we have money that will pay for this, that we don't have to fight about trying to get, it seemed to be a perfect time to take a look at changing those. But now, and I know this is really going to take the basketball program off, it is cheaper to get those units with air conditioning provided than it is to just have heating. So when we go to look at that, they will replace what's there with heating and air. So it might not be to where you could get to 62 degrees in there, but at least it will take the edge off in the summertime when they're in there.
I don't know if they picked up on that.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not sure why.
That was one of the big deals about
No,
graduation.
they wouldn't.
They wouldn't.
It's sarcasm.
You think
Okay.
that. That's like Christina had to
Sounds
look,
like-
yeah, she was confused. I was like,
I'm
he was
sorry.
kidding.
Once we get there, and I don't, if you've never seen them, they're two huge big things mounted up in the roof, and they'll change it around, and they will be freestanding at that point too. They will not rely on the hot water boilers that are here now. They'll have their own gas lines. They make their own heat up there. It'll be really a pretty nice thing down the road, because you're probably looking at $250,000 to do that out of general fund and PI at some point if they decide to go down. And now we've got a perfect opportunity to change those.
And they've got to be more energy efficient.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
This is 45 years old, there's no doubt.
I mean, the biggest thing in the gym is there's just no circulation. That's the hugest thing. There's no fans up above to do anything.
Well, they are, but in order to get that kind of air volume, they'd have to be 10 times the size that they are. And
This is good. I mean, I like this idea, because even in the winter, when everybody's in there, it's horrible.
okay, the next one we have is, and this is again is completely avoiding issues in the future. The boilers that we have at this end of the building are going to be 22 years old. They are not boilers that we would pick out if it was something that we were going to do on our own. That's what the state gave us when they built the building. They're not the best or easiest to maintain. And they have a lifespan that's closing in on the tail end. If we replace them now, the boilers that we put in 4 years ago, I think it was, at the other end, are considerably more energy efficient than these. They take up next to no room compared to the ones we have now. And this is another one of those things that it will qualify, because in this end of the building, the way it was designed, the heating and the air conditioning in the summertime run both together, because they increase or decrease the humidity by cooling the air and then heating it back up. So that's the way the system's designed. We tried to run without it and it doesn't work that way. So anyway, that is the next one. Now, the last one is, and Mario will talk more about the expenses and all of these things. This is one that absolutely qualifies for our government money, is new windows and doors. The windows and doors in the other end of the building are getting up there. There are a lot of them that have lost the seals between the panes. And this would be a perfect time to do it because it's not one to even have to argue with the state whether it qualifies or not. It does not, we're not going to save a lot energy wise. They gave us an idea of maybe a 25-year payback. So by the time they're shot, they will have paid for themselves. But at the same time, aesthetically, it's going to be a lot nicer. And we can add a little bit more to it on the fringe and put maybe more card readers around the outside since they're replacing the perimeter doors, and upgrade the locking systems and all of that while we're doing it. But we looked at the high school windows, the high school doors, and the elementary windows, because there are some windows down here by the design that they put in don't hold water out because of the way the window is, not because of the installation or anything that we can fix. They need to be taken out. It's not a terrible emergency. If that's one of the things that for whatever reason we can't get done, it will be okay. But if we could do it all at one time, that would be a great thing too. And then you're not going to have to worry about it for the next 30 years maybe. So that in a nutshell are the projects that we looked at, again, trying to save the district from possible a lot more expense later on in the future, and to help balance the budget now and take care of some issues that we need to take care of.
That's all the financing of different projects. Like we had, I think I remember telling you guys earlier in the year that we're going to have the companies come in and look at different projects that could be beneficial. So like Roger said, these are projects that will eventually would have had to pay for, but because of the extra money and what the allowable uses are, will help save future costs on general fund. So like the first one, he talked about the VAV boxes. That was with Gardner, and they approached us when their second round of extra money, we're able to take the rooftop units out of. So it saved that PI fund we set up that we were planning on to help replace those. So we have that money available there. So that project, they had an estimated cost of roughly $230,000. So that project, like I said, could be covered under ESSER as part of the budget or part of that PI fund. And the high school and gym upgrades, same thing. It'll be roughly a $230,000 project there. Now, before we get to the rest of it, like we're still expected to receive about 1.5 in ESSER 3. We haven't approved that yet because we haven't got the allocation yet. We still have to send documentation to ODE to even get those funds. So 20% of that has to be set aside for learning loss. So we'll have roughly about 1.2 million in ESSER 3 to use towards this project.
What are the other two projects called?
Yeah, that's the boiler system replacement. That's again, it's between 215 and 230, so I just estimated 230 for that project. And that where, depending on what's allowed, everything that Plug Smart was telling us that it is allowable, but we just have to get confirmation from the state that it would be, because of how much, how gray area they phrase things sometimes. But we're thinking, again, if we can't, we have this PI fund set aside for that we can use too. Like all these projects
How
could
much
be
is
that.
that? How much do we have set aside there?
So right now we have 409,000 in there. And we
That's
have
in
a
the
couple
PI fund.
in that PI fund again, that was for the rooftop replacements, and the second round of extra money covered pretty much that whole cost. So between the two, we have roughly 1.6 million, and also the second round, we have roughly 130 left, but it accounted for these projects allocated. So if we wanted to move forward, like with the boiler, we could use still some of those second rounds that's still left and supplement it with the fund. So I guess my point before I keep going is we have the money available to do all these projects. And if not, we need to do a little bit on the general fund. Based on our forecast, it wouldn't be a major dent, it'd be a one-year cost compared to the every year cost we have to worry about. And we have, it'd be affordable if we wanted to. Now, the big cost is the windows and doors replacement. Between the two, the max amount, which they came under our cost when we did the lighting project, was around 1.2 million to do all of them. Now, again, they're replacing all the windows, all the doors. Like Roger said, the old ones aren't there. There are leaks. So hopefully in this, I mean, like in the winter time, when
you say in the old ones, is that mostly in the high school side?
yeah, the big cost, like the estimate for the high school doors, the max around 180,000. And then the windows about $1 million. And then the high school is about 200, and the elementary would be about 200. So the big cost is in the high school section to do that whole project. Again, that's the max amount. So what they would say is if they go and bid it, if somehow the costs, everything jumped through, like we would have paid more than that. And then they would have to cover all the costs above it. But the minimum cost is like 150,000 and then 800,000 and another 180,000, which the low end's roughly 1.1. So anywhere, so that's where it gets a high range, but only because of how the cost of everything's going on right now with all the different pricing. So those would be the cost of the 4 projects. And we didn't just want to send this all to you guys. At least want to release Roger, explain it, and then I have things ready to go and I'll send them to you guys after. So
Is there a time
Well, that's-
constraint that we have to have all this done by? Okay, and if so, then how realistic is it that we're gonna make sure that we get it done?
well, the ESSER money, the third round, we have until 2024 to spend it.
Okay.
So I guess that's not, like we have a few years.
To spend it, that's fine, but
yeah,
I'm more
like-
concerned on Rogers and, you know, I mean,
It's
you've
just-
got 4 different projects that you've got to coordinate and get done.
Some of them could be done during school. A number of them, we can move things around a little bit to take care of that. And some of them will have to be done during the summertime or whatever. Our biggest problem is everybody got the money all at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
And so everybody is fighting now for contractors, for materials and all of that. So there is a pretty good lead time on a lot of the things. But they did think that some of this could be done in the next year. You know, doing it piece by piece, maybe if we had to in order to get it.
Yeah, like the one I think we had main concern was the windows and doors. I think he said the delay of that would probably be next spring if we started signing up soon.
Yeah.
So I guess our concern, that's what we at least want to address to you guys now is we came before, they like, you'll have the board approve all these. We just want to make sure you guys are okay with it before. Because we'll go back to the companies, okay, let's start the process, we'll do what we normally have to do to start this process, like follow all the, you know, bidding guidelines, everything that we would have to follow. And I guess that's why we're coming to you now, just to make sure you guys are okay with it. And that's why I at least want to explain where the funds would come. And it would be mostly from the ESSER and that PI fund. And then if we'd have to take anything from the general fund, almost like they would transfer those funds from the general fund to the PI. So it doesn't affect those other line items where we look at things, the yearly costs we have to worry about. So.
With the windows and doors being so expensive, is there, like, can you do not all of them, just the worst ones?
Sure we can. We could do it, well, we can do it any way you want to, but depending on how you want to go about it, it very well, we even talked about that, maybe do the 3rd floor, or maybe do the north side and that kind of thing. But while they're out here too, a lot of times it's cheaper to just have them do the whole thing. But the way things are now and the cost of materials and the cost of labor and all that, I mean, it's get it while you can sort of a thing.
well,
There you
since
go.
I don't see a new school in the near future, I think that we've got to obviously do things to maintain what we have. And this is really going to help us a lot.
You know, like Roger said, these are projects. That's what we want, like that projects where shouldn't add costs to our operating budget in
Right.
the future, and we'll save
Right.
for that. We'll make more money available in the future to do other things.
Exactly. I agree.
So that's what we want to look at before presenting it to you guys, and not just, you know,
And Plug Smart just came in Thursday.
last week. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Roger, because I was at a superintendent's meeting at the ESC, like Roger and Mario and I talked a little bit about it on Monday. So I think our main goal here was just to kind of introduce the ideas and then, let you guys think about it a little bit and then we'll come back to it.
And like I said, we'll have the board approve all these projects, so like you'll know. Like,
These projects are all projects that they will approve.
right, and I mean, the one that they have to get confirmation on will be the boiler.
Yeah.
And, but if not, like I said, we have that PI fund that can cover that.
But the
cost.
other stuff, we know we can get the money. for these
Right, and like I
projects.
said, if we do all the projects, mostly we're gonna spend probably more than our allotted cost because of that 20% set aside. To where we would have to pay for some of it out of the PI fund, but again, our PI fund was set up for this stuff, like the rooftop.
Right, we already had money set
We had
aside.
set aside for, so it's going towards what we intended, it's just a matter of what's paying for what.
What about the timing constraints as far as submitting to get approvals? I mean, where are we on that? I mean, you said we're gonna bring this to, the board for board approval, but we don't want to lag too much and not
Right.
get it ahead of the list.
And you add it to the special meeting.
I mean, we probably can, it's just a matter of talking with FlexSmart and stuff, and.
I mean, is that feasible?
Yeah.
Can you guys work that up so we can approve all these projects by that meeting? If you don't think you can, then you can't, I understand.
Right, but I'm sure FlexSmart, I mean, they'll be available, it's just a matter of, yeah, we just have to talk.
Plus, you're gonna need time frame and deadlines on what's
Yeah,
getting
it-
done
our only-
and.
Yeah, our only thing
how.
is, because the ESSER, like I said, they let us go back to the start of the pandemic. Our thing is the ESSER, their round is not, we can't submit that for you, but
Okay,
the
that's
process.
what I'm asking, I guess. I'm more concerned, want to make sure that we.
The ESSER two, I put all this stuff in. I guess by, like, I plan for these different type of projects as we talked to FlexSmart back in either January, February. And I just said, well, here's all the projects, because Roger had other projects too, but these were the ones that were most cost effective and we know could be used for them. So they at least approved it with ESSER two. That's why I don't see it being an issue with ESSER three. It's just a matter of that it not being available yet. So
Roger, out of all of these, which one do you feel like is maybe the least important? Like if we can't do them all, like,
But we could limp along real easy with the elementary window. If you walk around the building, you'll see a couple of the elementary windows that are bad already.
yeah, I saw.
The elementary windows could go probably, and like I say, the boilers work perfectly fine right now.
Mhm.
But that's, maybe tomorrow it does. In the summertime, they always work great. But the point I was trying to make was if we get rid of all of these issues, then you don't have, it's just like the roof. We've worked for years and years and years trying to get pieces at a time. And now it's to the point where you probably don't have to do a roof for another 10 or 12 years. And that's what we're trying to get some of these projects done in stages so that you don't have to come up with $1 million at a time, or, you don't have the broken boiler in the middle of the winter. And the idea that the boilers are so much more efficient that it's going to pay for, and when you get these papers, it'll show you the energy savings. And they've rated them as end of life too. The boilers are close to the end of their life. The rooftops were way beyond the end of their life. And so we've calculated all of that in there. So they really, you could do, we could do away with the whole software thing too. I'm not gonna be here forever. The next guy might like that to play with that computer a lot more than I do. But well, it's
we're going to the one systems when we were talking about the computer more.
Yeah.
It'd be more beneficial for the guy after Roger to go into one system instead of having to deal with two different ones.
Well, I say let's keep the wheels in motion and get it on the board agenda just as soon as you think the timing's right.
Okay, yeah, so like I said, we told FlexSmart we're gonna talk to you guys today and get back to them. And then Gardner, same thing. We just, on my end, just make sure the co-op programs and everything meets those standards.
Sure. And we can approve the projects, and if for some reason it doesn't meet the standard, then we can always come back and say, cancel that project, but I don't foresee that being the case.
So financially, we can do it. It's just a matter of where the funds come and at what time, and if we have to make adjustments, but like I said, if, say we overflow and the ESSER, say the costs are way more, and we have the PI fund, and then additionally we have the general fund, which we're in good shape. to where this would be a one-time cost and not that yearly cost we have to worry about, right? So.
And if there's any questions you have and you want to come in and take a look around and I can show you exactly what we're talking about on some of them, feel free because I got nothing but time.
Like I said, I'll send you guys these documents. Like they just sent me this PowerPoint on Monday. So that's just saying like because they came in, they just did on like in their tablets when they talked to me and Roger. And then we just don't want to send it to you guys and then you guys read through it. It's easier for him to explain it, then send it to you, then you guys can kind of see what he's talking about.
Ted, do we have any visitor participation, anything? Okay.
Okay, anything under old business? New business. Motion to approve resolution 2021-07, resolution adopting a calamity day alternative makeup plan for the 2021-2022 school year.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Yeah, just kind of pass this as we have in the past. I was I've been a little disappointed with the state, and I don't know that it's ODE, but it's, I think the legislators need to act. We had a lot of leeway this past year with remote learning. We submitted a remote learning plan, and not that I want to be doing remote learning this year, but I was kind of hoping that they would continue the ability to do that, especially if we had to be off for weather days or things like that. So as of right now, I don't see any changes with that. But you know, we do use a lot of times Google Classroom for Blizzard bag purposes. So we're just going to kind of continue at least, you know, having that as an option.
Okay, roll call.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
Mr. Chapman,
Yes.
Mrs. Berry,
Yes.
Mr. Mickle,
Yes. Motion carried. Motion to approve resolution 2021-08, resolution to specify the Bristol School District's intent not to provide career technical education to students enrolled in grades 7 and 8, the 2021-2022 school year.
Motion.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Yeah, we always pass the same way. Just can't offer this.
Roll call.
Mr. Chapman,
Yes.
Mrs. Berry,
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
Mr. Mickle,
Yes, motion carried. Motion to approve the 2021-2022 Washington DC field trip for May 12th, 13th, and 14th, 2022.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Discussion.
Yeah, I had just double checked with Tim, so those are our dates, and obviously the 8th graders will be going. I did just post the supplemental position we added. I have not gotten any interest as of yet on that, so.
Roll call.
Mrs. Berry,
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
Mr. Chapman,
Yes.
Mr. Mickle,
Yes, motion carried. Motion to authorize payment for purchase order number 5125 for the Trumbull County ESC.
I'll make the motion.
Sorry, I was getting there. I was reading something. Sorry.
I'll second.
Discussion.
Yeah, all the kids throughout the year for TVLA, after we got billed, these were the additional ones that kids that went on that, in the middle school year, and we didn't have enough money allocated on the original purchase order, so that's why we're going to do this one.
Roll call.
Mrs. Berry,
Yes.
Mr. Chapman,
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
Mr. Mickle,
Yes, motion carried. Motion to approve the following purpose statement and budgets for the 2021-2022 school year.
I'll make the motion.
You weren't gonna let Don read them all?
Thank you.
I knew he wasn't good.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
Mrs. Berry,
Yes.
Mr. Chapman,
Yes.
Mr. Mickle,
Yes, motion carried. Motion to hire Stephanie Novicki as high school English teacher at BA Step 0 for the 2021-2022 school year, provided she meets all state and local requirements.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I just want to say, I want to, Thank Mr. Nowry for sitting in on interviews with us, and I sat on with Mr. Fairfield. We had some good candidates come through. Stephanie has a 4.9 reading math, which we thought was kind of an interesting combination. That'll allow us, mainly she's going to do language arts, but that allows us to do some different things. You know, she's a former graduate, excited about having her in. Yeah, at some point, you know, that's another thing that's changed. It'll be nice kind of we always used to have them come into the meeting, they're hired, and, you know, maybe we'll have her come back in when we have one of our next meetings. So anyways, looking forward to having her start. It's exciting.
And she is gonna do some extracurriculars, right?
She said she was interested in them. I know right now, she had mentioned some interest in junior high track, and that posting hasn't expired. I was gonna have Mr. Fairfield reach out to her and see where she was at with that.
You know, we have a volleyball opening
Yes.
still.
Yeah,
I think she plays volleyball.
She said those two sports seemed interesting.
Roll call.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yeah.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, motion carried. Motion to hire Keely Hillman as cafeteria worker at step 0 for the 2021-2022 school year, provided she meets all state and local requirements.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Yeah, she had been subbing at Maplewood, and anyways, she came in and actually subbed for us at the end of the year. She had some dates, she was committed to them, but she said, you know, I kind of want to see what it's like here, and I kind of appreciate it. She said, I want to see if I'm a good fit for you guys. So anyways, Mrs. Dale said she fit in really well with the group back there, so we're looking forward to having her.
Roll call.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yeah.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, motion carried. Motion to approve up to 15 per diem days for Jeffrey Nathan Kish from June 1, 2021 through July 31st, 2021.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, Mr. Kish has been in a couple days already. I know he's coming in Friday. You know, met with our staff, met a lot of the kids, saw how some of the things ran. I think actually maybe it was the last day of school. Was real excited. So you know, just some days if he needs them to transition.
Roll call.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yeah.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, motion carried. Motion to hire the following student workers effective June 7, 2021, around $8.80 per hour on an as-needed basis. Colin Fairfield, Cadence Carpenter, and Jaden Lynn.
Want to read them?
Oh, I can read those.
I apologize.
I know.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yeah.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, motion carried. Motion to approve the following event workers for the girls OSHA softball tournament game on May 12, 2021, being paid with OSHA tournament funds. Tammy Poliso tickets at $35 and Daniel Collins tournament manager at $55.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yeah.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, motion carried. Motion to approve the following event workers for the boys OSHA baseball tournament game on May 18, 2021, being paid with OSHA tournament funds. Tammy Poliso tickets at $35 and Daniel Collins tournament manager at $55.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yeah.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, motion carried. Motion to accept the resignation of Haley Durst, a junior high volleyball coach at the conclusion of the 2020-2021 school year.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I want to just, you know, thank Haley for her time as junior high volleyball coach. Obviously, she's going to have a new opportunity in the next motion. And also appreciated her helping out with assistant for track. That's all. I have.
Roll call.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
Mrs. Berry,
Yes.
Mr. Chapman,
Yes.
Mr. Mickle,
Yes, motion carried. Motion to approve the following supplemental positions for the 2021-2022 school year, provided they meet all state and local requirements. Haley Durst, JV volleyball, Morgan Nelson, junior high cheerleading, and Kyle Quinn golf.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Chapman,
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
Mrs. Berry,
Yes.
Mr. Mickle,
Yes, motion carried. Motion to approve the removal of the attached list of obsolete books at Knox Salvage Value, Exhibit 2021-12.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yeah.
Mrs. Berry,
Yes.
Mr. Chapman,
Yes.
Mr. Mickle,
Yes, motion carried. Motion to approve a fund-to-fund transfer from the general fund 001-0000 to the termination benefits fund 035-9017 in the amount of $100,000.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Yeah, we just, 4 teacher retirements last year and then 2 retirements this year. That fund just took a vacate. We set this fund a few years back to help with the forecast because you have this big up and flows to paying retirement. This is another fund so that helps project better.
Roll call.
Mrs. Berry,
Yes.
Mr. Chapman,
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yeah.
Mr. Mickle,
Yes. Motion carried. Motion to approve resolution 2021-09, a resolution authorizing transfer of dormant student activity funds.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Discussion.
Yeah, this is just, we had them draw up a resolution for the dormant fund for the senior class, the extra funds. I know to help because of fundraising, lack thereof because of the COVID this year, to help the junior class and the freshman class, because usually when the seniors go, it goes directly to the freshman class. They had a little bit more money left over, so. It's split between the two. I think 1,500 is going to go to the junior class and the rest of it's going to come to the freshman class.
Roll call.
Mr. Chapman,
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
Mrs. Berry,
Yes.
Mr. Mickle,
Yes, motion carried. Motion to set a special meeting on Thursday, June 24th, 2021 at 4 p.m. for the purpose of approving amended appropriations for fiscal year 21 and setting fiscal year 2022 temporary appropriations and fund-to-fund transfers and any other matters as deemed necessary by the board.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yeah.
Mrs. Berry,
Yes.
Mr. Chapman,
Yes.
Mr. Mickle,
Yes, motion carried. I need a motion to adjourn to executive session, to discuss evaluation, compensation, and employment of personnel.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mr. Chapman,
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yeah.
Mrs. Berry,
Yes.
Mr. Mickle.
Yes, motion carried. Okay, I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yeah.
Mr. Rickle?
Yes. Motion carried.